Here's the story, Barron Trump and the Mysterious Old Grandpa, with richer detail as per 5,000 credits. Title, Barron Trump and the Mysterious Old Grandfather. On a cold morning in Central Park, Barron Trump, with his towering height and winter jacket, walks alone. Since moving to New York, he has often spent time alone to avoid public attention. In a quiet corner of the park, he saw an old grandfather sitting on a wooden bench with a black crow on his shoulder. The old man was looking at an antique pocket watch that was shining golden. Barron approached, curious. There was a mysterious aura on that grandfather. "Good morning, sir," Barron greeted politely. The grandfather turned his head slowly, revealing his face dotted with deep wrinkles, but his eyes radiated wisdom. "Good morning, young man. What brings you here on this cold day?" "I just want to be alone," Barron replied, taking a seat at the end of the same bench. "Sometimes the world is too noisy." The grandfather nodded slowly, as if understanding. He opened the pocket watch and showed it to Barron. Inside, there were carved figures and intricate patterns that looked like they were not from this world. "Time is something we often overlook," the grandfather said, his voice heavy but soothing. "But for those who are always being watched, time can feel like a burden." Barron frowned. "You mean?" The grandfather closed his pocket watch and looked sharply at Barron. "I know who you are. You are the son of a leader. You live under a huge shadow, and every second of your life is watched." Barron was surprised. "How do you know?" The grandfather only smiled faintly. "Because I've been in a similar position, albeit in a different context. You're looking for answers, aren't you? The answer to how to live your life without being burdened by the expectations of the world." Barron nodded slowly. "Sometimes it feels like I have no control over my own life. Everyone expects something from me, even before I do anything." The grandfather let out a long sigh. He picked up a beautifully engraved wooden stick beside him and showed it to Barron. "You see this stick? It was just an ordinary piece of wood when I first found it. But with the engraving, I gave him an identity. So is your life. The world may see you as someone's child, but you have the power to carve out who you really are." Barron looked at the stick with admiration. "But how do I know what to carve?" "By listening," the grandfather replied, pointing to his chest. "Not to the outside world, but to the little voice within you. The world is full of noise, but your truth is here." Barron was silent. The words felt simple, but heavy. He looked at his grandfather's watch again. "Can time really be a burden?" "A burden or a blessing, it depends on how you look at it," the grandfather said with a smile. "Use your time wisely. Do what is important to you, not what the world says is important." The crow on grandfather's shoulder suddenly flapped its wings and flew towards the tall tree. The grandfather stood up slowly, leaning on his stick. "I have to go now, young man. But remember, your life is a blank canvas. Don't be afraid to draw with the colors of your choice." "Wait," called Barron. "Who are you, really?" The grandfather smiled, his eyes glittering as if harboring a great secret. "I'm a time traveler, just like you." Before Barron could ask any further, the grandfather walks slowly toward the shadows of the trees. In a flash, he disappears, leaving Barron with an inspiring mind and a life lesson he will never forget. The story contains themes of introspection, mystery, and the meaning of life, with deep character development and atmosphere.